back. It's so late, the kids are asleep, and it feels very strange right now. This is how terrible and low my voice sounds.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for all of you who have been subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. A lot of this is new to us, and so if we're still getting back to you, just know that we love you and appreciate all of your support. I can't believe it's finally here.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So funny.
So thank you to those of you who have subscribed and watched our channel. If you don't know our story yet, Drew did come out to me as trans. If you want to take a look at our previous videos, we do tell our story of how we met, and basically Drew coming out to me. And today's video, we're basically answering your guys' questions.
Q&A.
If you're new to our channel, thank you so much for tuning in. And for those of you who have been waiting for this video, thank you so much for your patience. It's definitely been long overdue, and I know it's something that I've been dreading.
Me too. Me as well. I think we've kind of been like, tiptoeing and dancing around this.
Yes. It almost feels like if you, and I was telling our friends this the other day, that if you go through something, kind of like a TV show, and it's like something that happened, they film it, and then it airs, and then there's like a reunion, and they're talking about what they went through almost like 6 months to 9 months later. So I feel like you've overcame the trauma, and to talk about it again, it's just kind of like gut-wrenching, you know. I'm just like, ugh.
It's like revisiting,
Yeah,
hard times or reopening certain emotions and wounds. So there's
Right.
that. Cheers to that.
Cheers to healing and how far we've come. We just wanted to answer some of your guys' questions that you had. We did gather up a lot of the most common questions, and we're going to go ahead and get started. But I wanted to ask, like, do you want to hug it out before we start?
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't want a hug? Especially from you.
I guess no matter like how we answer, we just have to know that we've come this far, you know?
What are you trying to say? How are you going to answer some of the questions?
No, I'm not going to say. I'm just saying.
I'm so nervous for these questions. I hope you guys took it easy on us. Oh my goodness. Just got hot in here. Okay, go ahead.
How are you feeling today? I know.
Very simple, yet like
Strong.
It could be like deep. That's a nice question.
Yeah. Honestly, when I saw that question, I was like ready to cry because I wanted to just let out so much. Because if I'm being honest, I feel super overwhelmed. It just feels like so much in my life is going on right now that like I feel like I've almost like hit rock bottom, and I have to fix so many things, and it just feels like yucky because I'm 32 years old and I'm just like, it shouldn't be like this almost, you know? I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I was just like, wow, I love this question because that's how I'm doing today. I feel super overwhelmed, and I just have to recognize that, and I have to take it day by day.
Yeah, so the whole like, I'm 30 now and I should be doing this and this. I know you're like really like kind of like that type of person.
Yes.
So just give yourself grace. You're doing an amazing job. We'll get there. Like, we're all trying our best every day.
Yeah.
How am I doing today? I am surviving every day. It's been really kind of up and down, but I feel like I'm trying to stay mentally strong and be the best partner I can, parent, and just kind of get through every day. Right now, I'm not on HRT, so definitely been
kind of a little bit moody here and there, and
not really feeling myself all that much lately. But all perks of being transgender.
And I'm glad you're comfortable sharing like how you feel. I feel like that is such a good question because it is a part of your journey. Like this is just the beginning, and I know that you're, going through a lot mentally with physically how you are. And so I think that's what's cool about this is like we're both going through something, and right now a lot of things seem so overwhelming, but we're literally just doing the best we can with each and every day.
Amen to that.
Second question. I kind of like this one because I feel like we didn't touch base on it in any of the videos. And it was, why did you get married so fast?
Oh.
I thought that was kind of funny.
Oh, wow. You guys have no chill. Oh my gosh.
Babe, be quiet. It's a Q&A.
I know.
Okay.
All right. That was a good question.
Okay, so if you have not watched our videos, you should check them out because they're really good. But secondly, we met when we were 18. Well, I was 18, you were 19.
Correct.
And we used to work for the same company. And we were friends for about 2 years. And then we realized there was something there. And so we decided to start dating. And shortly after, I got pregnant with our firstborn. Basically, when we had her, life obviously sunk in very fast. Like we had to, get jobs and
Provide right away.
Yes. We had to basically provide. Moved into my mom's house. Drew was at Yoshinoya and I was at home taking care of Aubrey because there was nobody to take care of her. I just remember like at the time my mom would charge us for like rent and stuff, and it was hard like financially. And so I don't know why we thought about this, like we talked about it, but I was like, I know a few friends like that are in the Navy. Like, let me reach out to them, see how they're doing, and maybe you and I can do that life. Like, we can live that life, because everybody gloats about like the housing and just like the perks of everything, right? And
yeah, so we figured why not? Like, let's just go down that route, sure.
Right, right. So we literally were talking to a recruiter, and the recruiter was basically like, yes, Drew's gonna have to station somewhere and stay there and do, services for that specific location. I was like, but we can join, like at the time I was like, we can join him, right? And the guy was like, no, you have to be married. And so we both like looked at each other and we were like,
let's do it.
Basically, that's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah, literally. I think that's just us in a nutshell. Just looking at each other and being like, let's do it. Yeah, we wanted to be housed together. So in order for that to happen, we had to be married. So, I mean, we kind of just got married. We went to the courthouse.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So Drew basically ended up proposing to me, and I was just like, oh my God, like this means like you're gonna go. Like that's the sign that I took. So we basically reached out to Drew's uncle and he married us. And then it felt like shortly after we both kind of looked at each other and were like, okay, yeah, I don't know that I can handle you leaving. And it's just, I don't know if it's because like Drew and I met when I was 19 and I had like really bad abandonment issues from like my mom, my dad, and not really having a lot of people in my life when I was like younger, teenager. And so the thought of like Drew going to like the thought of Drew, what is it called when you get
Deployed?
yeah, the thought of Drew like getting deployed gave me really bad anxiety, and the fact of like me being stationed somewhere potentially far away from like family and friends, I just felt like I wasn't ready for that. And so I just remember expressing that to you, and you being like, oh my God, okay, cool. Like, I never even wanted to go. Like,
Yeah, like I totally understand. It seems scary for me to be shipped off somewhere. So that was not something I was going to be excited about. But, and also, I knew I would miss Aubrey like a lot as well.
Yeah.
Like, just the both of you. I felt like I didn't want to miss like a lot of firsts, you know, like of our baby and stuff. And I don't know, her growing up and us, I don't know, it just wasn't for us. I think it just wasn't for us.
and I just remember we looked at each other like when we finally had came up with the decision of like not going, and we're like, oh my God, but we're married already. Like, that was the whole reason of why we had gotten married. And we were both just kind of like,
Well, we're married now.
yeah, like there's nothing else we can do. I mean, if, yeah,
What?
I don't know what else.
Divorce? What are you trying to tell me?
That's basically the answer to that question, why we got married so fast. It's not like we were like, it was like planned, you know, because I'm like, oh my God, I know this person, and this person's like, I know this person, and we're like ready to take the next step. Like, it was just almost on some like, we felt forced by the United States of America and their rules and regulations. Like, I am a baby mama. I deserve to be wherever
Deep breaths.
my spouse is at.
Deep breaths.
Okay.
Next question, please. Okay. So, the question, how hard was it for me to come out to myself and my wife, was extremely hard. Obviously, I feel like coming out to my wife was a lot harder than coming out to myself, even though coming out to myself was really hard also. But I think I was kind of just in denial at first. Like, coming out to myself, it was like a super slow process that I kind of knew, like, kind of what was going on in the back of my mind, but I never, like, fully addressed it, never.
Like, came to terms?
Yeah. I don't know. That was a super long process, but it was definitely hard. As for coming out to Jax, it was insanely hard. One of the hardest things that I feel like I've ever done in my life. You know, like, Jackie's my wife, and we were married for, well, we're still married. We've just been together for like a super long time, so I'm just like, oh, like, I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to cause like trauma, and on top of like everything else that you've been through and stuff. So I was super, super scared and nervous, and it was extremely hard, like extremely hard to come out to you. But it's crazy once I did, and I got the words out, and I was sobbing and crying, and finally came out to you. It was like the biggest weight off of my shoulders, chest, and body, and everything. And it just felt amazing.
Yeah, that's tough. I can't imagine, like, feeling like that, you know? That's hard. Like, not only feeling, I think for me it's also like
Holding in.
saying, you know? Like seriously, like me saying, like, hey,
Yes,
I've
right.
never ever felt like a girl. Like, I'm sorry. I know I look like this, but like internally, like, I've always felt like I'm in the wrong body and I am a boy. Like, I can't imagine saying those things.
Right? And it's like, I can't even imagine being on your end hearing that. And that's, I'm just like, ugh, that's what made me super scared to come out. Like, I can't imagine you seeing that and hearing that from me.
Was it easy for you to come out to your daughter?
Yeah, so coming out to Aubrey, it was super emotional. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I just remember the the look on her face, and it was so hard because I feel like for the first time in forever that she just gave me this look like she didn't know who I was, and honestly it was super hard. I never want either of our children to feel that way. So that's something that was extremely hard to do. So the next question that we got was, what do your kids call you? Basically, what do our kids call me now that I'm out as transgender? And the answer is, so before I came out, our kiddos used to call me daddy, and the way we kind of reworded that is Aubrey came up with a word. Well, she has her own like little lingo that she takes the first letter out of a word, and so instead of daddy, the kiddos call me Addie, and it kind of just stuck like really quick. So both of them call me Addie now, like really adapted to, I guess, like the name change or kind of, that. So they're just super supportive. At what point in my life did I feel different? I feel like most of my life I felt different, but I didn't know why. I think it was up until the age of 12. I started like having thoughts and like feelings that like I couldn't explain, or like I just really didn't understand. And yeah, I think around the age 12 I was feeling like, why is it hard to talk for me to talk to boys my age, or why is it hard for me to just make friends in general, like overall. I did feel really different. And then on top of that, like my actual body as well, just feeling like, I don't know, like why do I have to have a boy body? I guess like thoughts would start entering my mind, and I would just kind of just push them to the back and not even entertain it or anything.
This next question is for me, and it says, how hard is it for you to adjust as a spouse with all the change? Y'all hiring because your girl's adaptable to change. Just kidding. I feel like this question is honestly really heavy, and it's something that I'm going to try to sum up so I'm not just talking for forever. But clearly it's been an adjustment. I don't know, like if we're speaking labels, I guess I would be a hetero woman who likes men. And I am super supportive of the queer community, but I just thought that I had found the love of my life as they were. And so when Drew came out, I feel like it was almost something that I kind of saw coming, but of course it was still a huge shock. I feel like when you are living with somebody who is transgender, it's honestly one of the hardest things to watch, because you do see how something that like strong of a feeling or an emotion can truly take over their mental health, and the things that it makes them do when they're feeling like that, just angry and bitter inside because they're not able to be their true authentic selves. And so as much as it's been an adjustment and like it's been hard for me, I feel like what makes it super easy is that you're seeing somebody who you love go from being miserable, depressed, to being themselves and being happy. And so it's almost not a hard adjustment, you know? Like what I mean by hard also, not just within our relationship, is like the world. I mean, we see that, you know, there's still mixed feelings about people who are transgender. And so it makes it hard to go out. It makes it hard to talk to people who know us from, obviously, like Drew pre coming out. And so it's just it's a huge adjustment on so many levels. It's not just us, you know, and like something
Right.
super simple of like, oh my god, like how do you feel?
There's other factors involved. Yeah.
Yeah, like your spouse is going from like one gender to the other. It's like it's just so much more than what people think. And I think what I'm doing is just figuring it out with her. And it's just sad that someone can't be themselves, you know, because it's wrong in so many other people's eyes. So
Very true. Very true.
yeah. Okay, so the next question is, what was my first thought when Drew came out to me? I feel like I touched on this a little bit in one of the videos, but not too much. And it was a lot to process. It's still something that I'm going through, you know. Just because we're doing this Q&A doesn't mean we have like all of the perfect answers, just like
Everything figured out. No.
yeah, no.
It's not true.
It's definitely still a very, very fresh wound. And it's something that we're still, you know, educating ourselves on and figuring out. But one of my thoughts was not like I'm angry. It was more just like I couldn't believe that you were suffering with that for so long. I feel like that was my initial reaction. Like the wife side of me was like, holy snap. Like this is what like Drew's uncle, because he's the one that married us, really meant when he said like till death do you part, you know, through the good and through the bad. And I'm like trying not to cry, but like those were my initial thoughts, you know. Like when you marry somebody, like eventually things are gonna happen. You hear people who are married for a super long time and they tell you like it's something that you both have to really fight for, because it does get, you know, overwhelming. And when you add kids to it, like it's even more intense. And so being that we had 2 kids, it just really felt like I need to be there for this person. Like I have to, you know, like it's the right thing to do. And so I mean, Drew just came out to me last year. Like last year was just more of educating myself, how I can support her, how I can support me, how I can support the kids, and just basically doing that and getting through like these changes that were basically about to happen, because it started happening kind of quick. So yeah, good question. Okay, next question. How did our parents take the news?
Oh, goodness. Oof.
A heavy question.
Right? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, since my answer is simple. As you know, if you do, you may not know, my dad is not in my life. He left when I was 2, so I mean, don't have to come out to him because he's not here. So it's just my mom. And if I'm being honest, she does not know. Like, me saying it. I mean, Drew physically, I'm sure she has her.
She has her suspicion
There
that
you go.
something's up with
She
me. I
has
mean, I don't look
the
the
same
same as
at all.
before. I don't know.
No, you do not. But my mom's pretty traditional. She's Mexican, and I feel like she has opened up a lot more now as she's getting older. I feel like things are occurring in her life where she's realizing what's important, and at the end of the day, it's not what you supply to your kids, but actually being there for your kids. But I just feel like, I don't know, like, I'm 32. I'm 32, and my mom and I were never really close. I feel like the only one thing that my mom and I truly have in common is that we both became young mothers, and we were there for our kids. And so I feel like I understand my mom, like, on a mom level. But as for like a mother-daughter relationship, like, I would love, for us to be close and have a relationship like I have with Obs, but it's not like that. And so the TikToks are real. Like, if you do follow our TikTok page, a lot of the dark humor does come from like her not knowing. I don't know when I'm gonna tell her. I don't know that I will ever tell her. There's just other people that I have come out to that have not been supportive, that ever since then, like, I do not like to come out to people. I feel like it's easier to just record myself, talk on the internet, and if anyone has any questions, I'm just gonna direct them to this YouTube channel, because I right now cannot talk about it like on a one-on-one level. I feel like there's things that people want answers to that I don't have yet, and so I don't know if I'm ready to answer some of my mom's questions. I don't know if I want to hear what she has to say. And so I have not come out to my mom.
That's heavy. That's brutal. You're really strong. You're really, really strong. I mean, hopefully one day we will. And
I'm not. I'm fine.
do you need me to come out to her?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I feel like I'm like still just processing that. It's almost like I don't want to have to worry about how somebody else feels.
Right. It's so hard.
It's hard, and this is why I feel so bad for people who are just going through these situations. It's just tough. It really is tough.
I'm so sorry that it's so tough, like having to worry about how people will take it and all of this. So really appreciate your strength and you being an awesome supporter. Okay, so as for my parents, I did come out to them through text.
At least you did it.
Oh, it's chicken.
That's tough. Your parents are like perfect. I don't even know how you came out to them. I just remember.
I figured they had to. I mean, they have to know. Like, I have to tell them.
Right.
But yeah, I guess I just never. I don't know. Like, I didn't feel comfortable coming out to them like in person. Just because, we're not. I don't know. We're not like a super close knit family.
Or you don't talk about your feelings.
Yeah, there's also that. But yeah, overall, we really didn't talk about our feelings. Any sort of like mental struggles or emotional struggles, we just didn't talk about it. And I mean, I don't know. I just I just had to do it. I just had to throw a text at them, just throw a bomb, a text bomb, and just leave it like that. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna walk away from my phone now. But I did come out to them through text, my mom, and then my dad separately. I think it's separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was separately. And yeah, my dad didn't reply. I think we just like finally talked in person like days later or something. My mom did reply, and she was surprisingly
Open
to it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically you're still dealing with all of that with your parents.
Yeah. So I came out to my parents, but still dealing with the whole like dead name and incorrect pronouns, but like I completely understand. Like I get it. I'm sure it's hard for them too, the change and transition and stuff, so it is what it is.
Yeah. I think it's just harder when you become a parent. You just understand things like on a whole other level.
Right.
And I just try to put myself in their shoes and I just want to make sure that we're always there for the kids and we support them and we love them with anything. It's not just if they're trans, it's just with anything that's difficult and hard for them to process that's happening in their life, for them to say like, hey, can you help me? Or I've been having these thoughts and feelings and I don't know what it means.
Right.
Not to be afraid and walk on eggshells and even feel like they can't say certain things because of how we're gonna like feel.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So, how is your communication now?
Like, how is our communication?
Yeah, how is our communication now?
Okay, so I'll answer that. I don't know if Jackie's gonna have a different response, but for me, I feel like our communication is like the best it's ever been. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, for reals, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like before it was like talking to a brick wall. And then Drew would be like, I'm not mad. I'm like, I know you're not mad, but like, you're also not talking to me.
Yeah.
Like, you're not saying much. And if I'm telling you like this and this and this is bothering me and you're just like, yeah, I don't know if this is gonna really work out or not. And I'm like, I'm not asking for like a Rolls Royce or whatever those cars are called. I'm not asking for a Tesla with the white picket fence house. Like, I'm just asking for you to talk to me. Like, what's
yeah,
wrong
I was
with you?
very closed off before. I think I was like just zombie mode, sorta. Like I was
For
like on
sure.
autopilot where
Yeah.
yeah, our communication was very bad before.
And I feel like for those of you who are new, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this a lot, but for those of you who are new and don't know us, like Drew was really closed off, and a lot of people are probably wondering like, well, why did you stay, in the marriage for like 10 years? Why did you stay in the relationship for like 13 years? Like, why didn't you leave? Or if people just have those questions, there was a lot of things that happened in our relationship that I thought Drew was just maybe dealing with like depression from what we had went through. And so I just always thought like it's just gonna take time, and when life is like happening and you have kids, time is
There's sometimes not enough time in the day to process things
right. Yeah. And so I mean, I wasn't like completely miserable. Like there was communication, but it just felt like it wasn't real and authentic, and a lot of things were truly said. Like it just felt like Drew was kind of like in her head a lot and just would shut down, and I'm like, okay, I know you're thinking things, but nothing would come out. And I feel like this question is so good because you answered it so perfectly. Like, it is at the best that it's ever been, because I feel like this year we both learned what a boundary was. I feel like we didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know what that meant. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. And so,
Right. Like,
right.
which will lead us into our next video about boundaries.
That's a good one.
Right.
Yeah. This question, it's so perfect. It says, what advice do you have somebody who's going through your same situation?
What advice do we have
Yeah.
for someone going through the same?
So somebody who's maybe dealing with their identity, and then me, it's like your spouse is coming out as trans. That's huge.
Wow, I guess my advice to someone that's either thinking about coming out or doesn't know if they would want to come out, it's just be you. If you're not ready, the time will be right when the time is right. And just be gentle on yourself. Be gentle on your mind. Everything will be okay if you just come out and just be your authentic self. Everything will be okay. I think that's my advice.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I feel like my question is so heavy.
What's your advice?
My advice for a spouse who's dealing with somebody who is transitioning in your marriage is like, do you, you know? I feel like when Drew came out to me, it was so heavy on me as well, because obviously, like, it is a huge change that's about to happen. But when I look back at the woman that I was in that relationship when we were together, I did not like who I was becoming. I was working for a company where I was so miserable. I was crying every day on my lunch breaks. I was having anxiety attacks where I would call Drew and just tell Drew, like, I don't know how I'm going to come back from lunch. And I would never see the kids. I would constantly see, like, Instagram stories of, like, Drew taking the kids to the park and picking them up from school. And I just felt like physically I didn't like who I was becoming. And when Drew came out to me, I kind of just told myself, like, I'm kind of going through the same thing. Like, I don't like who I am right now, you know? And so I just remember looking at her and telling her, like, let's transition together, you know?
Let's make change together.
Yeah. And so that's why this year, I don't know, I feel like I've gone, like, rogue on everybody. Like, I don't really talk to anybody, honestly. Like, I don't have any friends, really. And this is not, like, a pity party. Like, I don't need people to feel sorry for me. It's just our story. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't really know who I am right now. And when you don't really know who you are, you don't know how to act around other people. And so I'm kind of just, like, taking this time to get to know me again. Like, I had a kid when I was 19, and then I had another kid when I was 27. So I feel like I don't know who I am. And so right now I'm just kind of focusing, like, on me. If you follow my Instagram, Fit with Jax, you'll see that I started to have a whole, like, fitness journey. I'm really wanting to get to know my body. I don't want to just, you know, go cold turkey on certain things and do these crazy diets. Like, I really want to understand my body, my mind, my soul, and what I'm putting in my body and how that affects, like, my mental health. And so I think it's important that we don't lose ourselves in their transition, and we remember that like we matter too, you know, like as hard as it is. Like I know some women go into like a really big depression, and I feel like I almost did. Thank God for like Pat and Jay and you, like constantly keeping us busy, like with stuff to do, and a lot of the other friends like Kelsey and
Chelsea, we love you.
like even close friends. Like I don't know, I just don't get lost in their transition, and just see how you can find yourself again, and things that make you happy.
Yes, I don't want you to lose yourself.
I'm not.
I want you to find yourself.
We just wanted to thank you guys so much for sticking around the video. I know this one was a little sad, kind of funny. I feel like it was a little bit of everything.
A little of everything. It got a little deep, got a little funny here and there. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you so much for sticking around, and please, please, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our videos. It definitely helps kind of just spread that love and support that others may need that they don't have. I know that when Drew first came out to me, and when you were even coming out to yourself, there's not really too many videos or information that's out there on YouTube. And so
Right. Yes. I was searching on YouTube, transgender, how to come out, this and that, what is transgender, and just a bunch of stuff. And I remember feeling so alone. Like I wasn't out to Jackie yet. And all I had were those videos. And honestly, they meant so much to me. So that's why we're doing this also.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know, because it's such a scary journey, and you need your support system to be strong and heavy. I mean, it's just like where other people can relate that are not in our same situation is whatever you're going through, you need support. Like you do not want to go through things alone, and we cannot go through things alone in this life. Like you just cannot.
Absolutely not.
It takes a village to raise a kid. Why does it have to change as an adult? It shouldn't have to. People need people. Like that's just how it works.
Exactly. We need to stick together.
Love
We're
is
stronger
love.
together. Love is love. It is.
Yeah.
So,
we just wanted to thank you guys again for staying and listening to us answer these questions. We love you guys so much. We hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good night or day. If you're on your lunch break, don't cry. Wipe those tears. And
TCL out.
bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you for watching.
We love you.